So, Father Kalchik, joining us from an undisclosed location, you are one of the so-called cancelled priests that you kind of fell afoul of Cardinal Cupich of Chicago.
Yes, back in the fall of 2018, a number of events sort of fell into place. It was sort of a super storm, and I ended up leaving Chicago because of the gay LGBTQ mob on my case. The rumor got out there that I burnt a gay flag.
That is kind of the narrative out there. If you hear Father Kalchik, it's that you viciously and cruelly burned the flag of this marginalized Chicago community. But that's not really what happened, is it?
No, it has nothing to do with the LGBTQ community in Chicago. For the most part, over the course of my years as a priest in Chicago, I steered clear of any and all things gay in Chicago, particularly the LGBTQ mob across the river, just east of Resurrection Parish. The thing that got their ire was the rumor that got started by Deb Mell, the alderman at the time, about Father Kalchik burning a gay flag. And it had nothing to do with Kalchik burning a gay flag. It had everything to do with my predecessor, a notoriously bad priest, who had this banner with the rainbow on it. And he had dignity masses, whatever, at Resurrection before me. And the parishioners, after his death, he ended up killing himself. After his death, the parishioners made certain almost every remnant of that period of time in our parish's black history was removed, except for this banner stuck in the back of a closet that nobody really knew about until August of 2018, when we had a leak in the roof of the sacristy and things were being pulled out from the corners so workmen could work on the roof. And so the Guadalupanos, a big part of our parish is a Latino parish, said, this evil thing has to be burnt. And so it's like, go for it. And so that's what happened. And so I took the brunt for how this banner was quietly, in a prayerful way, just put to rest.
Yeah, because this wasn't some, great protest where, you got together a mob who were, howling slogans and chanting and praying the rosary and what have you, and you burned a gay flag at the head of, some sort of group marching down the Magnificent Mile or something like that. I mean, this was a banner that had belonged to the parish, and it was a banner that was associated with your former pastor there, the former pastor there. We've spoken about him on Church Militant. I mean, he died in really very horrid circumstances, related to his sexual proclivities. He was a known promoter of the homosexual lifestyle and died in a way really quite terribly. Obviously, I don't think we need to dwell on that. But obviously, so to dispose of this thing in essentially a reverent manner, to have burned this thing in a prayerful manner to dispose of it, this wasn't some, grand protest against gays and lesbians. This was just essentially disposing of a thing very much opposed to the Catholic Church that was in the possession of the Catholic Church.
Exactly. It was simply 7 individuals out of the Guadalupanos who, with me, made certain it was destroyed. And it was done on a day in which there was no school, in the locked courtyard of the school. So the only way you could see in is if you were tall to look over the wall. It's bizarre.
Yeah, and of course you mentioned that the alderman, one of the aldermen there, one of the ward aldermen of Chicago was actually, kind of pushing this there. And then I think you actually kind of also got some other kind of visits, like from some sort of heavies that the cardinal sent. As hard as it is to believe, it seems very Chicago politics to me.
Well, the backstory with the former alderman Deb Mell was that in January of 2018, on a sub-zero day, it was about 6 degrees below zero, the alderman had orchestrated this cleanup of the tent city underneath the Kennedy Expressway in the parish. And I came out against her. I got the news people out there, and sadly, the people living underneath the expressway had their possessions and whatnot just trashed, thrown into the garbage trucks. In the aftermath of that, the city Coalition for the Homeless filed a lawsuit against Deb Mell in the city of Chicago because of what they did to the homeless. And it was just, so in one sense, this was Deb Mell's attack to get back at me for that lawsuit.
Yeah, this was retribution against you there. But I also understand that you did get some kind of somewhat sort of threatening visits, and you didn't leave Chicago kind of because you were asked to leave or something like that. You kind of left Chicago because, well, to stay in Chicago might have been dangerous.
Well, it was a perfect storm. You had the couple of vicar for priest on my case. They wanted to institutionalize me, put me in a psychiatric institution because I was a hater, just BS. You know, I don't know where you come up with this claptrap, but it's, you know, if you speak against anybody other than apple pie and ice cream, you're construed as a hater. So, you know, myself as a sexual abuse victim, I've always spoken out against sodomy and homosexual predation of all sorts, and you know, track record for 40-some years now about speaking up against this. And so I was not going to let Deb Mell or you know, Lori Lightfoot, who's now also out, in to, you know, push me over simply because they decried me as a hater.
Yeah, of course, you know, there's a lot of players in this that people will recognize, their names they will recognize. Obviously, Cardinal Cupich, you know, is seen to have been in Chicago for far too long. You know, may the Lord bless him and keep him far away from us. But also Lori Lightfoot, you know, the mayor there of Chicago. And it does seem just bizarre, this collusion of essentially Democratic Party machine politics. Obviously, that's where it started in Chicago, that machine politics, and the Catholic Church. It does just seem essentially like everyone's just crashing down on poor little Father Kalchik because he said, checks notes, let's not throw away the only possessions homeless people have, and maybe, just maybe, we shouldn't have gay banners flying in the sanctuary. It just seems weird.
No, it's tragic how you get a particular group of people that are pushing their agenda and shoving aside our faith tradition, shoving aside the sacred scripture. It's like they make the rules, and if you're not part of their club, they exorcise you and
yeah, and they drive you out into the wilderness. You should be shunned, you should be exiled, you should be banished. So that was, 2018? So that's been like nearly 5 years now?
Yes.
You've been there, and you have not been acting as pastor of a parish since that time. You've essentially been denied your opportunity to have the fullness of the priesthood, effectively. You know, you are, as I know, you and I have spoken before, you know, privately, I know that you are, insofar as such a thing can be judged, to be a good priest. You are a priest who believes all the teachings of the Catholic Church. As you said, you know, you're a man who's spoken out against homosexuality, against sex abuse. But it seems that there is no place for a man like you in the church these days, and that's very, very sad. Is there anything that our viewers can do to help you, Father? Well,
the most important thing I think all of our viewers should do is pray. Right now, we're in an unprecedented situation in our church. We're like the bark of Peter is on a turbulent ocean, and in many respects, rudderless, because we're getting very little direction from our bishops, cardinals, and even Pope with respect to the tyranny that's playing out day by day in this world we live in.
Yeah, always a good idea to pray, always an excellent thing. As well, I think it's interesting that you would say, you know, that obviously we're on the bark of Peter, and the bark of Peter is being tossed around. It's on stormy seas, and yet rudderless in many ways. You know, it's because sometimes it does seem that the things, you know, that the bishops and the cardinals and Pope Francis are saying are at best very, very confusing. On that note, I would urge all of our viewers, well, all of the male viewers because it is a man's retreat. We have in the first week of August this year, first week of August 2023, we have Strength and Honor Men's Retreat, which will be happening here in Metro Detroit. You can click the link on the website and you can check out all the details. Please, if you are a man and you are able to come, please come to the Strength and Honor Retreat. The theme is, the reason I mention it, staying on board the boat, staying on board the bark of Peter, not jumping off into the stormy seas where there are sharks, even though it seems the captain may be asleep. Father Kalchik, always a pleasure to have a priest on here and always a pleasure to talk to you. We will all be praying for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Simon. God bless.
Thank you for watching Hardline. If you're enjoying the show, please go to churchmilitant.com for the whole episode. You must be a premium member. So to sign up, go to churchmilitant.com/go premium.